live. And welcome back to New Realities. I have another amazing group of people here along with Sheila Seppi. We're getting ready for the upcoming conference that is happening this weekend, January 8th and 9th, 2022. These are some of the people that will be on our panel discussion one day there, the Sunday, I think it is. I just wanted to say a quick hello to my friend Richard Horowitz, Dr. Richard Horowitz. Thank you for being here. Bridget Holliday, and my good friend Emma Louise Living Soul. So Sheila, why don't you just talk about the upcoming conference and then we'll dive into conversation, okay?
Sure, absolutely. So we're excited, as we've been telling you all week and actually all month, that we have our walk-in conference coming up this weekend. And again, it's much more than just a walk-in conference because it's all about conscious expansion. It's all about anchoring in those new energies and helping to create a new paradigm. And so in addition to having all of our speakers there and to provide this wonderful information, we're going to receive lots of activations. We're going to have lots of meditations and grounding to kind of help wake us up and ground us in. And so on day 2 of the conference, we have at the very end what we're calling our Galactic Family Panel. And this panel is going to consist of a variety of members. We have Marina Serene, who will be joining us. We have Bridget Renee Holliday, who is here with us, Emma Louise Living Soul, Dr. Richard Horowitz, along with Alan and Neil and myself, as well as the Sunday participants. And what we're going to do, you know, every time you've got a conference, there's only so much room. And so this panel is going to provide the opportunity for those not to be missed people to be able to join us and to share and to give a little bit of information about who they are, what they do, how they're connected in. And so today we're going to get just a little bit of a taste about what this panel is going to be like. But before we do, I want to remind people, if you have not registered, please do so today. You can go to wishalliance.org, hit the register here button, and you'll be taken to a section that will allow you to then input the special code that we're giving, PTA25, that will give you 25% discount on the registration fee. So if you've not registered yet, please go do that today. And so here in just a moment, we're going to again introduce our day 2 panel so that you can get to know them and really just get a little bit of a taste about what this day 2 panel is going to be. This will be at the very end of our conference. So for me, it feels like that we're just kind of tying all that energy in together, and we're going to send you away with a big boom. So, Alan, are you ready to get started? You'll need to unmute. So, okay. So what I'd like to do then is let me go ahead and I want to introduce Emma Louise Living Soul. Emma was one of the individuals that agreed to allow me to print her story in my book, Walk-In's Cosmology of the Soul. And after we printed that book, so many of us were continuing to talk and, you know, really wanted community, because for a lot of us, this is the first time that walk-ins had a platform or people that really understood who they were. And so from that, we really cultivated and presented last year the first ever walk-in conference, and Emma Louise was there as well. And Emma has a phenomenal story. I hope you'll share a little bit about that with us and just kind of bring us up to date with where you are and kind of what's going on with you now.
Okay,
So Emma,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, for those that don't know that, I'm from Norway. Actually half Danish and half Norwegian. But in reality, I'm a walk-in, so I'm not really from Earth. And I guess that's many of us that's not really from Earth. None of us, actually. But I came, I'm born in this body in 1978, and I came in 85. And the last couple of years, to just talk a little bit about what I'm doing right now, I am an emergency nurse, but I was called out by my family to get out of the job right before the so-called pandemic started. So I did that, luckily, because I'm never vaccinated and I will never be either. So I'm one of those. So the last couple of years, I've basically been a lot in nature and grounding myself. And I've been a little bit quiet, kept a little bit to myself. I'm not so much out there as many others. I do a little bit of interviews or conversation now and then. I don't have a desire to be like a front figure of anything. I do write a lot, and I paint and I draw. So I have my little projects, and maybe I will give them out one day. I don't really know yet. But basically, I'm quite a loner, so I like to enjoy my time in nature. And the last couple of years, I've been quite a lot on board on ship with my family. So I'm what I personally call a soul traveler, but I know many people call it a walk-in, and that's okay. It's just a word anyway for me. But I do travel a lot out of my body, and I go into these avatar bodies, and I bring a lot of time, or I spend a lot of time in ships with my family and also on other planets. And I also do a lot of work in the shadows here in this planet. So I do a lot of what probably we could call energy work, because that's basically what it is.
Beautiful. So when you're on the ships with your family, are they giving you messages to kind of help you? Do they give you any insight into, some of the chaotic insanity that's going on this planet right now?
Yeah, they keep a quite good overview of what is going on on the planet and in this construct that we are living in. So I do get a lot of information about that. And you could say that I also provide them information on how everything is here with, the foot on the ground, so to speak. But my main priority right now is actually to evolve myself as a soul. So I am a lot in much higher, what we here on Earth call densities or dimensions. But I do have a lot of information to share when it comes to spirituality, and a lot of misconceptions here on Earth. We have a lot of definitions of everything. One of the things is there is really no karma, there is really no densities or dimensions. We never travel anywhere. We are only here in a 0 point where we are experiencing everything as we are traveling. So I'm evolving, and that is why I don't really have much time to be around humans either, because there are a lot of quantum understandings that I'm starting to remember and take in again. And maybe one day I'm going to teach more about this here on this planet or somewhere else.
Let me ask you, is it easier to be in Norway than other places? Because there's a lot less density in Norway. It's more open space. The people seem to be more open there. Is it easier for you to be there?
Both yes and no. The energies are definitely more open, more clear and pure, because we have so much nature here compared to areas where there are populated. So yeah. I can, get into my own space away, you could say, from all the perceptions and the belief systems and all these entangled energies. And there are a lot of people in Norway that are awake, but if you compare it to the population of Norway, it's a very small percentage.
Right.
And when it comes to, I have only been in America one time. That was a couple of years ago. And when the flight started to enter American airspace, I didn't know at the time. I started to get really sick and puking, and I could feel the density. And I'm not saying this to trash you Americans or anything. That is not my purpose, so please do not take it.
No, we understand.
Yeah, so when I landed on an airport close to Seattle, I think it was, I don't remember anymore. I was really sick, and it took me about 48 hours to kind of balance out myself. And luckily, we was very close to a huge forest, so I could walk in the forest. And when I got back, they were completely shocked because they said there's a lot of dangerous animals out there. You have to be careful. Well,
You tell me there's more dangerous animals in the city than there were.
I'm not afraid of animals anyway, because they are my friends. So
Right.
used to bears and all kinds of animals. So that's just a little lie we have told ourselves, that they are so dangerous.
Right. Well, we'll come back to you. I wanted to say hello to Richard Horowitz, Starseed Revolution. How is the Starseed business going, Richard? And how's your downloads going from the other dimension?
So, as you know, Alan, I'm a kind of a newcomer to this particular area. This is not something in medicine I thought I would ever be doing. And by the way, I was in Norway several years ago, actually presenting to the Norwegian government about tick-borne diseases. So we had a lovely time, actually. It's a beautiful country. I enjoyed, by the way, being up at 11:30 at night with full sun and being awake. That was actually a lot of fun and a lot of beautiful people. So it's a wonderful country. So the thing is that I have a new book coming out, Starseed Revolution: The Awakening. And the way I got into this is that I've been a medical intuitive. I've not talked about, as I've told you, Alan, any of my personal history before. It's kind of like a coming out for me, because when you're in traditional medicine as a board certified internist, people basically don't really understand if you talk about other realities and things you're experiencing. The medical intuitive side has served me very well with Lyme and tick-borne disease, with COVID-19, coming up with solutions. But the way I got into this is about 4 years ago, I was looking at the climate science when our government was denying that climate change was a problem. I was reading the science. I got very upset because I realized we were in deep trouble. And I opened in meditation. I have been studying with Tibetan Buddhist masters from the Kagyu lineage for the past 40 years. And I prayed to my teachers. And at that point, that was the spiritual family. I didn't realize I had other members of the family, which I'll get into in a second. And by the way, Alan, I spoke to Barbara Lamb. I had a very nice conversation with Barbara a couple of weeks ago, as did my wife. It was kind of an eye-opening experience. But when I connected in meditation, they had said to me, you really should write a book about the climate. And I said, well, why would anybody want to read a book by a Lyme doctor about the climate? And what I heard in the meditation was, no, you need to write a science fiction climate change book, to which I responded, you want me to do what? And then I heard, yes, and please make it funny. So I proceeded to download 450 pages. I just basically got to my writing desk, opened in meditation, and downloaded a 450-page manuscript, which was then edited. And yesterday, I'll send it to you, Alan, I got the Kirkus review, which is a review by these book publishing companies that review books in advance, like the New York Times. And it was very, very favorable. We were actually a bit surprised how positive it was. They said it's very difficult to do humor as a writer in the Mel Brooks style, and they basically loved the book. And I'll send it to you later. But
Right.
The book's about to come out, and what's in the book is actually spiritual teachings of consciousness expansion and how to work with reality as we understand it right now, as Em was talking about, with the relative reality and the absolute reality are two completely different things. So what I share in this book, without going into too much detail, and what I'll be sharing this weekend on the panel, is I realized I probably should just start channeling and just basically sit in meditation and just channel for the group, and see what needs to come through. So I'm going to kind of jump into the fire this weekend, get out of my own way, and just let come through whatever needs to come through. So I feel like I'm entering a completely new realm, and it's a lot of fun. And in my book, I have a Wish Alliance. I think I told you this, Sheila. In the preface, I mentioned the Wish Alliance because you realize, coming from this traditional background I come from, I had no idea, right, about walk-ins and indigos and hybrids. And in the book, I'm a hybrid. I'm a half alien from Arcturus, half human. And, at first I thought, oh, this is a joke. It's a lot of fun. And then I spoke to Barbara Lamb on the phone a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, oh my God, there's probably more to this than I even realized. And so this journey for me, I'm a scientist. It's like, I need proof in some ways, but I understand that the right brain works very differently than the left. And I'm learning about faith and intuition and how to understand truth at deeper levels. So I'm just going to share some of this on the weekend and hopefully have some fun with people.
Right. That is so good. That's a real doctor, Bridget, we're talking to here. He's an MD who's channeling these starseed transmissions. Isn't that amazing? You see? Wait, we still can't hear you, Bridget. But anyway, thank you, Richard.
Wonderful.
Yes, for jumping in. And I think you're going to, have you met Bridget before? She is...
I saw her on the last Starseed. I really enjoyed it. Your energy, Bridget, is just amazing. I just love sitting and just kind of taking it in, which is what you did on the last Starseed conference. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's just great.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good. So Bridget, what do you have to add for the panel that's coming up? What do you want to share about what's this weekend?
Interesting. I think we, I'm going to see how everyone shares throughout the panel. But I think, the thing that keeps coming through over and over and over for walk-ins is how revered they are outside of the human experience, because this is such an intense experience to come into and to do it from birth, but to step in at different times. They're just really revered, and mainly focusing on, the elevation of consciousness, as I always do. But specifically with walk-ins, man, we, my knowingness and all of my team, you're very valued. Let's just say that. We're all very special and important, every human on the planet, but the service that you do with this is really, really, really important. And, my team has been saying multiple times that many walk-ins have not been on Earth before. So this is a first experience and a really intense one. But there's an aspect to walk-ins that they've been bringing in that I find very interesting about how they emanate within their own puzzle piece with their codes and their frequencies. So maybe we'll channel a little bit about that.
Alan, you're muted.
Yes. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to channel right now about that?
Well, I think I'll save it for the panel conversation at the end of the thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for this weekend. Yeah, channel through some information about them.
But maybe we could just do a little overview of this year to come, what people are seeing about the energies. What are you seeing, Emma, Louise, about, as this year unfolds?
What I see about what?
How does the energies of this year look as it's kind of moving out of something we've been through for 2 years into something else, hopefully?
Yeah. Well, I have looked into the energies of the year that's coming, and there are different levels of the energies. So you could say the densest level of the energy is that 2022 will be one of the hardest years on Earth, actually, when it comes to this final countdown of everything that's happening physically on the planet. But then, and when it comes to the people, there will be a lot of people that will, in a way, rise up even more and become even more rebellious. And there will be those that are kind of just stagnated. They will kind of freeze in time. It just gets too much for them. And then there will be those that will seek much more into the spiritual. And then there will be those that will have a balance of it all. And nothing is wrong and nothing is right. That is in the third density of it all, so to speak. And yes, there will be a countdown. It will be a countdown when it comes to, you know, the medical communities and the political arenas. And what I see is that there will be a lot, even much more than already have come up to the light. There will be a lot of, you know, of the dark, hidden agendas and dark stuff that needs to get up and into the light for us to clean it out and get over with it. I don't want to go too much into all the details because they will come anyway, and it's just too dark. But when it comes to a higher level of our consciousness, it will become a time where everyone, no matter what role we have chosen to play here, it will come up a time of simplicity. We will go into much more simplicity of our living. We will start choose more simplicity in the physical living, but also in the spiritual living. We'll start to clean away belief systems and perceptions that doesn't serve us anymore. And there will be much more communities coming together all over the world. There will be communities that will be kind of a place where this new wisdom and this new way of seeing spirituality as the pureness as it is, it will start to rise even much more. It's like all the years that have been like a school for everything that's starting to come up now. Yeah. So there will be already actually in this world, there are a lot of gurus, masters, teachers, and so on that have already left their bodies. It's just their vessels that are left, and they are kind of just going on the same note. So we will see a lot of them just fall off, and that's natural. And there will be a lot of new, really fresh, and also in all ages. But I do think we will see a lot of young, physical young in vessel, but also a lot of very elderly people come up with that we never heard about before, but will come up with a very new, fresh energy and a very high or widened perspective of seeing life. But at the same time, it will be so simple and so pure that we will almost like say, so that's how easy it can be, you know? Because it's almost like having a house in front of you. You have to build this house, and it's so complex because you have all these permissions you have to write. You have to get all this permission to build it. You have to follow all these rules, and then when you're just kind of scraping away all the permissions and the rules, and you understand how easy it actually can be built when we just come together. It's like that pureness. So yeah. we will see that especially within the spiritual communities. And I also just want to say that the first 6 months of this year will be quite heavy around the world. But I have to say that if you have made a decision about something, you know, to stand in your own sovereignty, then just do that. And just say no, because it's a universal law that says that no one can really do anything against you without your permission. And this is the time we are in now. We just have to say no, and everyone knows what I'm talking about, so I don't need to elaborate on that. But it's also very important to not be separated from each other. and not think that, oh, you are in that booth, you are in that booth, oh, and not be so doomed and gloomed about everything, because it's really important to remember now that in the end, everything is light, everything is energy, everything is frequency, and we are going into a year where there will be a lot of relocation of frequencies. So it will be a relocation of frequency, a rebuilding of the world. And there are so many different stories now out everywhere. Someone believes in, the Matrix, and some believe in the new Earth, and many, many, many stories. And everyone, they 100% believe they have their own truth, and that is the truth. But maybe it's time to go into the simplicity and detach from all the old stories and be open and have use the knowledge, but be open for something that maybe none of us really know what is coming.
Yes, that's what I think, is something like that. Richard, how do you see it, both professionally as a medical doctor and as a starseed voyager? How are you seeing this, the world shaping up?
Well, if things go the way they have with Omicron, I mean, I think actually it looks by March, I think we're going to see a complete shift, because those 57 mutations on this last round of the virus, it is milder. They've proven it at this point. I'm getting a lot more COVID consults where people are calling me up, but they're definitely not as sick. You're not seeing the same hospitalizations. And because there have been actually a lot of people who have been vaccinated and have natural immunity than have been coronaviruses, future coronaviruses will have a much more difficult time establishing themselves, because there will be much more global immunity. So I don't think I think we should be seeing actually the end of this pandemic this year. I'm hoping it's going to be by March. 2022, if you look at the numerology, it's actually a very positive year because it equals 6, which is a very positive numerological sign as far as positive movement forward, leaving things behind, moving into new areas. My spiritual teacher is Eminent Cedar Rinpoche. I heard his New Year message just a couple of days ago, and I spoke to him on the phone about 2 or 3 weeks ago. He's in India, in Dharamsala, and he thinks things are going to be shifting. I hope that will be the case. So I see from a medical perspective, things should get better. What concerns me most truthfully is that the global climate situation is just going to keep getting worse. And as COP27 takes place in Egypt this year at the end of the year, my concern is that the carbon dioxide level is just going to keep going up. The last time we were at 420 parts per million was during the Pliocene era 3 million years ago, and the Earth's oceans were 30 feet higher. And the fact that they just showed that the Antarctic glacier with the Thwaites Glacier is cracking, and the climate scientists are giving it 3 to 5 years before it basically cracks off and gets into the ocean, you're talking the timetable is moving up. So my concern for humanity is that they're sticking their heads in the sand. They're basically putting money above human life. They don't have enough compassion. They're not watching the science. They're stuck in old paradigms. And I think, unfortunately, they're going to wait until some really serious events are happening. So I do see that this is going to continue, and probably humanity is going to get a wake-up call. But the good news is that at least it's on the agenda at this point. People are realizing there's a problem. I know that Norway, in fact, I've been watching Norway and the Scandinavian countries. They're shifting from fossil fuels. They're basically looking at other ways of energy, which is amazing considering the economies have been based on this for so long. So the ethics that I've seen actually coming out of the Scandinavian countries has been very encouraging. Not as encouraging yet in the United States, because the fossil fuel companies control the dialogue. They get billions in subsidies, but I think it's all going to be moving, and there are solutions out there. There are scientific solutions. We just need enough love and compassion and following the science to be able to do it. But I think this year there will be some good things that are going to unfold ultimately.
Are you getting more downloads from your starseed connections?
The latest download that I've gotten is that book 2 is coming, is that they're now actually letting me know that there's a whole nother series that's coming. I'm about to sit down and actually start downloading the next book. They basically told me now's the time. So, and they're giving me the outline, which is going to actually be taking place between the future and about 1,000 years ago on the planet Earth. They're giving me kind of an understanding of how this is going to happen, going back and forth in time planes. So it's an interesting storyline that I'm starting to get. It's not yet fully developed, but it's kind of fun doing it. I've never been creative this way, and I'm having a ball with it.
Great. So good that you're here and joining us and making the bridge between the dimensions and the kind of mindsets of these worlds we're living in. So what about you, Bridget? What's coming down the road that you see?
2022, much to some of the people's chagrin, I can feel it already, is going to be more of the inner work. Depending on where you are vibrationally, your experience, you will have groups of people that are experiencing very similar things, just like it always has been in the human experience. But now we're starting to see more of an energetic, outwardly it would appear to be a split, but actually it's actually a harmonization and balance that's coming. Those that are holding a very, very high frequency within themselves, activating that within themselves and emanating it out, are actually helping others frequency match. And it's not really like a step, but you can get a visual of plateaus, right? And we're all raising each other up. But at any point, because of free will, any single one of us within our individual human experience, if we decide, okay, I'm opting out of this experience, I'm choosing this instead, and we do the inner work, we can elevate so fast now. So there's nothing holding us in a lower frequency other than our own self, right? And our beliefs and the stories that we tell ourselves to solidify those beliefs within our reality, and the unconscious and conscious patterning that we've created within our lives, that also brings these experiences back to us as a reflection of what we're holding on a loop, right? So we can go through kind of with a fine-tooth comb and identify where we are holding lower frequencies. I see more and more people, especially on Clubhouse. You guys know I'm on Clubhouse a lot, in Awaken Ascending, which is our club name. But we are finding more and more people are looking for that ease and grace and flow, and we can choose that. There will also be a lot of intensities on the global scene, just as we've seen in 2020 and 2021, with maybe slightly different flares. But that is to bring what we're holding as individuals that no longer serves us, what we've labeled old paradigm and new paradigm, right? So anything that is not serving us as individuals and as a collective, it has to be brought to the light of our awareness in some way. How we do that is up to us. And then we decide, okay, I'm not playing in that frequency anymore. But to do that, we really need to find the threads of those energetics that we're holding within ourselves that are in alignment with it. So I like to use the example of war, right? There are so many things within our own lives that we hold the war energy, the war frequency, the war construct. And within our inner world, I'm not talking about anger. We have anger. Anger is a healthy emotion, but spraying it on others is essentially like an act of war, right? It's fine to have your emotion and feel it and allow it to move through you. That's actually healthy. But the way we do it is what is being called into focus for us. So that's an example. If you can think of that on any level, lots of people are moving into this where we're looking for the columns, the cords, the ropes, the threads and the filaments of these energies and deflating them within the 3D paradigm, the third dimensional grid, and inflating by our choices of how we're going to be in the world, what we're choosing in each moment. We are now inflating constructs and aspects and creating things for the fifth dimensional experience. So really right now we are still, waist deep in all of this. We're at the very beginning of this whole process, right? So the way I see it is, the experience will reflect what we have within, just like everything else does. So 2022 is, what are you focusing on? What are you doing within your own inner world that is now being reflected externally? And you'll find yourself, we'll all find ourselves magnetizing to those that are similar, that are doing similar things, just like always, right? So I think it's all about resonance, and it's all about, what human experience are you choosing in this moment, even with reflections of the things that you're moving out of. What are you choosing, right? So that's even more important, right? If you've created a shift, and really it's just shifting to frequencies within ourselves that we already hold. This isn't like we go to 5D. This is, we embody the fifth dimensional frequency that we already hold. And how are we choosing to do that in the moment? And oscillating is perfectly normal and fine. There's nothing wrong with the third dimensional experience. There's nothing wrong with the fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever you want to call it, density or dimension. There's absolutely nothing wrong. It's just, what are you choosing, and what do you want to play in within the human experience?
Thank you. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So it does come down to more free will, more choice, more potential for evolution, because we're freeing ourselves from the old thought form realities that have enslaved us. So what about you, Sheila? What were you thinking?
Well, like we were talking yesterday, the word that keeps coming to me is the rebalancing. There's going to be lots of rebalancing internally, externally. It's just going to be more about that releasing and letting go, holding on to those things that we're choosing to bring into our lives, releasing a lot of those older frequencies. It's also a time of, a choice point. We're going to have opportunities where we need to choose which direction that we're going to go. And we need to stand fast in that. It was so exciting yesterday to hear about the workshop that's coming up in March with Omar and Rob, where they're bringing 100 different people together, and collectively everyone's going to be kind of talking about these choice points and what's up for them, where are we going as as a human race, what are we choosing to hold on to. And so I think that again, the rebalancing is the word that my collective keeps giving me over and over, and the choice point. And too, like Emma and Bridget were mentioning, and we even talked about it some yesterday, frequencies, what my collective has kind of told me is they're like the road signs, the densities, the dimensions that are road signs that give us the opportunity to recognize where we are. But as far as like having the name for all the dimensions and the subdimensions and all the time, everything is happening all at once. And again, as Bridget pointed out, is more of the incorporating, the going within, making those choices for ourselves. Who do we want to be? What do we want to express to the world? And so I know that there's going to be a lot more density and chaos on the planet, but I get excited about that because that means that there's more light being shed on that darkness. And those things have to come up. And they have to come up in our human consciousness, in our collective consciousness, so they can be healed and that we can continue to raise our vibration and our resonance.
I think it comes up for each one of us to go past our resistance, keep moving towards the light, towards the greater consciousness. I know some days I just get, wow, it's so dark and gray out. Why even get out of bed? But, you have to get out of bed sometime and just go for it. So I think we are all evolving to some new destinies and new realities. So I look forward to this weekend, to the energetics upgrades of the human species and where we're moving to and what we have to look forward to. So anybody else have anything to conclude for this? Richard, do you have anything you want to add before we sign off?
The only thing I'll tell you, coming from a very traditional background, although again, I've been studying with Tibetan Buddhist lamas for 40 years, so I've been obviously involved in many other areas of spirituality. What I find fascinating about the Wish Alliance and the people who are there is I'm a scientist, but I'm not a scientist, that doesn't believe in some element of faith. I need proof. And when I've been listening to people's stories about walk-ins and hybrids, I have to tell you, this is kind of a little bit mind-blowing, because when I download it in a book, and I'm thinking a lot of this stuff is science fiction as I'm getting it, and then I'm listening to people's experience, it's like I'm looking and checking into people's souls going, this is clearly true. And it's like, how come I didn't know about this for so long? How come nobody's been talking about this? And, obviously in what I do, I don't usually talk about these things at all. I'm very classically trained. I do integrative medicine. I do functional medicine. I've been out of the box with standard medicine for a long time, and I bucked the system. But I have to tell you, it's been an eye-opening experience listening to people who are on the Wish Alliance, their experiences, and my own understanding, in fact, of the universe and what's happening. It's been actually amazing, expanding my own viewpoints of what is. And I even question now from day to day who I am. I've always questioned it, but now I even question it even more.
That's great. Just what you thought was science fiction is really science fact, that it's really, you thought you're making it up, and like, whoa, there's a whole universe of possibilities. So maybe all the things we imagine are possible on one level, and most likely are, I think, so thank you for being so honest and open, Richard, about your process too.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people, I'm going to obviously be a bridge, I think, for some people in this, because I represent the traditional, even though I do functional integrative medicine, I represent the standard way of thinking about it, even if I've been a spiritual adept since I've been very young. But this is a whole new area, right? This is not something I've, had my own little UFO experiences here and there. It's not that I've never believed in UFOs and other planets. Of course I did. That wasn't obvious to me. I just didn't realize there were that many people having these experiences on the planet, and that there was more of a planetary evolution going on. So when I started downloading my book, I thought, honestly, I was just downloading science fiction. And then I meet all of you and I realized, oh my God, I was tapping into something I had no idea.
Exactly. That is a great demonstration of the creative mind accessing the unknown and bringing it in. So thank you. Yes. Just when you thought you were making it up, there, you in the face, but there you go. All right.
Well, it's higher knowingness, right, Alan?
Yes.
So it's his own higher knowing.
That's what the imagination is. It's tapping into these realities. So anything you want to leave us with, Emma Louise? Or we should think about?
For the new year you're thinking about, or in general?
In general,
Yeah, I believe a lot in simplicity of life and co-creation. And I believe in going within yourself, and first of all, clean up within yourself before pointing outwards, which we should never do anyway. I believe in taking care of yourself and everyone around you as good as you can, but mostly yourself first, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. It's basic knowledge.
If you don't put the mask on yourself, you can't put the oxygen mask on anyone else. Yes.
So, and I believe it's very important for us. It's always been important, but I think it's even more important now to stay centered within ourselves and start to really trust in ourselves and the inner knowing that we have, and not look for everyone else to have the answers for us. Because you may get an answer from yourself today that is not the same you will get next week, but that is just part of the process. That doesn't mean that, oh, you did something wrong the week before. Stay grounded in nature. That's my advice. Drink a lot of water. You can actually bless the water and program the water to do whatever you like the water to do. So if you have some illnesses or you want some insights, then, collaborate or co-create with the water and the elements around you. And also ask your legacy of light to come into your to your existence, your consciousness, your awareness, and ask them or the light around you to help you and guide you, but never give away your power. That's very important for me. I'm like a lion warrior in that point. I'm very about standing in our own sovereignty and always remember that we are in a circle together. There are no one under, no one above. We are next to each other with this, and we all have our wisdom and knowledge. And don't seek for help and assistance from anyone else with the things that you actually can do yourself. So
Thank you.
trust yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you this weekend. Bridget, any last words for today?
Always. You know me, I love to talk.
And you have a great voice. Doesn't she, Richard, have a great melodic voice there?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So what I want to remind everyone today is you are not alone. There are so many of us at various stages within our evolution and consciousness, within our awakening journey. And if you are out there feeling alone, tap in to the frequency of your soul family. And it is as simple as holding the intention of, I would like to connect with my soul family. Also remember that you have an entire team. Some are smaller, some are larger. Neither one is better or worse than the other. You have an entire team of beings who love you. They're your friends and family, and often aspects of you from outside of the human experience that are waiting. They're just waiting for you to ask for their guidance and their assistance and their support, and to open to receive all of this and their love. And I want to remind everyone that you have trained lifetimes upon lifetimes upon lifetimes for what you're here to do now and who you're choosing to be in every now moment. And it is never too late or too early. To be where you are right now is exactly where you've decided that you want it to be, and you can shift and move and opt out of anything. You can refocus on anything, and you hold mastery upon mastery upon mastery. The geniuses, as Stephanie Lodge will say. You have all of this that you're bringing into the human experience. And whenever you see anyone that looks shiny and that you're like, oh, I love them, I'm so attracted to them, pay attention to the aspects that you see within them. Because what I've experienced and what I've witnessed in my years of being an awakening and ascension mentor and a beyond quantum healing hypnosis practitioner is that when we see that shiny thing in someone else, it is an aspect of us that's asking to be awakened within our own reality. So it is truly that phrase, the light you see in me is the light reflected of you. That is truly, truly the way it is. So remember, you're not alone. Reach out, find your community, call it in, not by a lack of having it. Call it in by what you dream of having. How does it feel to be connected in such a deep way? Come hang out with me and Awaken Ascending on Clubhouse. You'll find your people. Hang out with Sheila and Alan and anyone else that you feel resonant with. Develop a relationship with them. You're not alone, and we love you, and we're here supporting you energetically. And that's what I want to say.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Richard, okay, what's your final word for the day?
I agree. I mean, the thing is that everything that people have talked about, the main message, because it is about ascension of consciousness. I mean, that's really why people are here. You're right. It's the soul having the physical experience, but it is about knowing your own power. One of the things that struck me years ago by my teachers was that you need to have faith in yourself, but not faith just in your ego, faith in actually your essential awakened nature that is with you. It doesn't need to be gotten. It's already present. And it is a question of honestly self-empowerment and understanding it. And, so I think this weekend when I kind of opened, now that I've listened to everyone today. I think it's a really good starting point for this weekend to talking about self-empowerment, how we do it, how do we connect, what the experience is. So I think I've gotten some ideas for this weekend that I think will be a lot of fun.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us. Okay, Sheila, what do you think?
I think if you haven't registered, you need to do so now. So please, let me pop this up real quick to the screen. Right. And all you have to do is go to the Wish Alliance or to portal2ascension.org. You're going to hit the register now button. You're going to then put in the PTA 25 code, because that will then give you the 25% discount off. So you can join us and hear all of these phenomenal speakers. You can participate in the panels, which the panels will be live, right, Alan? Those are going to be live on YouTube.
Live, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, we want people to be able to join us. We're going to get to view a little bit more of Rosalind Beth's Horowitz film, The Neon Star, and we're going to talk a little bit about contact there. We're going to talk day 2, just kind of like we have today. We have people that are part of the galactic family, which really we all are, but, you know, that I really want to be able to hear from them, because I think that we're going to have such a powerful ending. So you don't want to miss any of this. So please, please, please register.
Great. Thank you. This is Alan Steinfeld. I'm really excited about this conference coming up, because it's not just the idea of walk-ins. It's the idea that consciousness is fluid and it's undefinable. And we can call it whatever we want, because we are creating new territory, new categorizations of who we really are. We're breaking out of an old paradigm that says, this is you, this is your personality, that's what you're supposed to believe. So this is a cutting edge, I think, in spirituality, is allowing the expansion of the personality and what we're calling the self into uncharted territories. And Sheila's been a leader in that with her new book, you know, Cosmology of the Soul, Walk-ins, the Wish Alliance, Walk-ins, Indigos, Star Seeds, and Hybrid Alliance. So everyone join that. Look for more shows on New Realities. I'm doing a predictions panel tomorrow night here on this YouTube channel. So thank you, Bridget and Emma, Louise, and Richard, and of course Sheila. Thanks so much for.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, and we'll talk soon.